Yo, what up, everybody? This is me, Travon Jones, Conscious Talk Channel. I wanted to talk about a video. Well, it was a short that I did yesterday. I wanted to talk about that. It was a short and it was addressing a minor that I saw while I was in the park, and he was digging in the trash can and he ate out of the trash can. And I made a video about it. And I was talking about how, our government basically has opened the borders and has allowed these different groups of people to just come over, and mainly Venezuelans, Latin people coming over at alarming rates. You have our government who is upset with Texas because Texas is basically right there where all these different migrants can just come in, and it's a haven for them to be able to just come through and then wreak havoc all over the place. And you have our government that is upset about it. But I wanted to talk about the video that I made yesterday, the short that I made. And, I got a lot of people who were leaving comments and was upset with me because I was saying how us so-called Black people in America, how we are the indigenous people of America, and how this government, who we didn't invite to come in and invade our land in the first place, this government came over who was foreigners themselves, and they invited themselves, and then they invited other groups of people to come in and invade our country. So when I say this is nothing new under the sun, because this is something that has always done. You have always had foreigners that have come in and have invaded our space. So when I'm talking to Black people and I'm talking to Black people and saying, this is what your government is doing to you, I have to have, other groups of people coming in on my video telling me that I should have a heart and that I'm being insensitive and not caring because I'm talking to my people, because my people are constantly getting shitted on. Other groups of people are coming into our country and they're getting reparations. They're getting government funds. They're getting money. The government is funding for them to be able to just come over in here into our country and invade us and just take over our space. Now, the original people who are so-called African Americans, so-called Black people, we are the American Indians. We are the Aborigines of America. And we have foreigners just coming in, just invading and just basically, not even caring about how we feel. They're listening to other groups of people who are foreigners themselves. Basically, just allow them to come in and walk all over us. Now, so-called African American people, our group has risen 32%, which is amazing to me. It's amazing, even though we have a lot of abortion that goes on, with our women, the murders, of just within our own community and with our government, police officers deleting, us at alarming rates, and shit like that. It's amazing. Even through all of that, we are still rising. And they're always trying to say that we're only 13% of the population. I have family members, that tell me even back then, we were always at 12% of the population. We were always at 10% of the population, even back then in the 50s and the 60s. So this is just amazing to me how we're just always stuck at the 12% of the population or the 13% of the population. And when you think about the Latino people and the other groups of people, the Asian people and the Arabs and all these other groups of people that are here in this country, because you have to understand everybody's labeled into categories. Either you're white or you're black, but you have all these other groups that are here. And even though all these other groups are here, we're still at a high number. We're still at a high number. So even though we have Latino people that are here, they're not having babies, like they would if they were in their own countries. As soon as they come to America, at the most, you might see a Latino person with 2, 3 children, and all the time. I see this all the time also. So with that being said, you have all these other groups of people here, but even with that, Black people still have risen. Our population has risen, which speaks volumes. That speaks large volumes that we are still able to produce, even in all this stress, all the problems that we have going on, and we have all this, different migration coming in and all these different groups of people who come in with their hostile attitudes coming in and still hating on us, but we're still growing. But it's just amazing to me how when I did this short, I had a bunch of people over here upset with me. Now, I had a lot of people that agreed with me and were saying, I agree with you. I totally understand what you're saying. But I also had people who were upset with me, but it's usually the people who are coming in taking instead of giving. And this is the reason why I tell so-called African-American people, so-called Black people, that we need to stop trying to rely on a government who keeps shitting on us and relying on the government to do anything for us. We got to understand that this government is who put us in this position that we're in now, where a lot of us don't know who we are. We're over here thinking that we come from a landmass called Africa, when in reality, we are the Aborigines of America. We have always been here in America. We've been here. This is our homeland. We've been no other place but America. And this is what we need to understand, because we have family members and, cousins and aunties and uncles and great aunts who have been in Los Angeles for, generations, and been in Chicago for generations, and been in Tennessee for generations, and been in Texas for generations. This is our home. So when you have all these different generations of people, of our family members, been in America and been, here in what we call America, California, all these type of different places for generations, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. So to have another group of people tell you, oh no, you come from Africa. You are from Africa. These are your enemies telling you where you come from, because they're trying to remove you from your homeland, from where you have always been, where you belong. So to have a group of people getting upset because I say something like, hey, look at what your government is doing. Your government, so-called African American people, so-called black people, this is what your government is doing. Your government is allowing all these people, other groups of people, to come in mass numbers to basically wipe you out. Although they never succeed in wiping us out. But there is nothing new under the sun, because this is what Martin Luther King was trying to tell us back in the day. Because I have uncles and cousins, from that time that knew Martin Luther King and was around when he was alive. That tell you people didn't like him when he was alive. They hated on him. And although he was talking about, I have a dream and all that kind of stuff, that's the only thing that they focus on. Your enemies only focus on that one little message, but they never focus on the message where he was telling so-called black people that right here in America is your homeland. And you have white peasants coming from other countries, and the government is paying white peasants from other countries to come into your land that you've been in forever. And they're giving them government funds to take your land right up from under you. And because it was so many of us, they couldn't just outright just delete all of us and kill us. So how did they destroy us? Was through the pen. They used the pen, and they changed our identities over and over and over and over again. That's what they did to us. We have been colored. We have been Negro. We've been, black. Now we're called African American. They keep changing who we are. And this is done on purpose. So a lot of times when we're reading history books and things like that, and they're saying African people and African this, they're really talking about indigenous people of America. But we got to be able to sift through that and read through it, because they have our history right in front of us. They have our history right in front of us, and they're selling our history to other countries and things like that right in front of us. All the while they're sitting up here lying to us and telling us that, oh no, y'all are not from America. You guys are African Americans. How you can be two continents is amazing to me. That's amazing. When we've been here in what we call America forever. You are American Indian. And it's just high time that you start to understand who you are, because we've been lied to, and we got to stop being lied to. We got to stop accepting what our enemies keep trying to push on us and keep trying to give us. We got to quit doing that and know who we are, because see, here's the thing. There's more of us than they're going to actually say. There's more so-called black people, so-called African American people all over the world. But they have to make you think that you are so small, that your group is so small, and they have to some kind of way keep you divided. And they use these other groups, to help push white supremacy. You have some of these Asian people and, some of these other groups of Latino people that help to push that white supremacy so that they can keep all this confusion and all this shit going on. But what's so wonderful is that we are waking up, and we're starting to see what's going on and what has always been going on. We're going to still have the ones that want to stay asleep and, they want to fall right in line with white supremacy because they get a bag by helping to push white supremacy, and they get a bag, for that because they've learned how to maneuver and live their life under white supremacy. They learn how to do that. So they want to keep the confusion going. You got some of our people that want to keep that shit going. They want to keep it going. But a lot of us are saying, no, we need to wake up and we need to move past this bullshit that we've been lied to. We've been lied to for too long. And a lot of us are just starting to just say, listen, this isn't working. How we've been living and the lies that we've been having to deal with all this time, it's not working for us. So we need to just move past this and move on. And that's what a lot of us are doing. And a lot of us are waking up to who we actually are, which is a wonderful thing. Because it's time that we start waking up and seeing who we really are. That we are wonderful beings. We have God in us. We have the Most High in us. We are a part of Him. We are His chosen. And we've been lulled to sleep long enough. And people have been feeding off of us and eating off of us for way too long. And it's amazing how a lot of our enemies who hate us so much and don't like us, but they're surrounded by us. They're all around us, taking from us. They're all around us, coming into our neighborhoods, moving in on us. They're like they're leeches, leeching off of us, taking from us. This is what they're doing. And we're learning how to just accept it. And we've learned how to just accept this shit. And we've learned how to get along with some of them. And when I'm cool with getting along with other groups of people and all that kind of stuff. But what we need to start actually doing is start building. Because there's no reason why we shouldn't have our own schools. There's no reason why we shouldn't have our own hospitals. There's no reason why we shouldn't have any of those type of things. We have to start learning how to think about our children and leaving land. Why can't we leave land to our children? Why is that something that is impossible for us to even think about? Hey, brother, how you doing? We should be able to think about our future generations, our children. And part of that is leaving a legacy. Living in someone else's world and living in, someone else's, kingdom has not benefited us in no way, shape, or form. It hasn't benefited us at all. Because we're drowning. But now we're at a place where we can reclaim who we are, reclaim our identity, and start to rebuild. Because we got to come to a place where we're unafraid, where we're just not afraid anymore, where we are going to actually start to continue with our true identity. We have to come to a place where we're going to start doing that again and stop being afraid and allowing other groups of people to paint our narrative for us. Because if you notice, a lot of them are trying to do, they're trying to make us the underclass while they giving all these other groups of people reparations and shit. They ain't thinking about giving us reparations at all. Although they need to just give us some reparations. They need to give us reparations, period and point blank. we are a group of people that had an already established society here before our enemies came here. We had buildings and we had established societies. We had kingdoms and things like that. And then our enemies came and saw all this beauty and saw all these beautiful things and just came right in and started and had us rebuilding all over the shit. And they tearing it down and, and start building up, their monuments and, and putting up their people who they deem, to be, worthy and all this type of, bullshit. And they basically destroyed us with the pen and just kept changing who we are and our identity. And we got to a place where they start making all these schools and, and indoctrinating us with their teachings and their education. And before you knew it, we're losing our identity. We lost who we actually are. And we're indoctrinating ourselves with them. When that was the worst thing that we could have ever done in the first place. Indoctrinating ourselves with a group of people that came into our country, our land. And making us cut our hair and, change our style of dress and, and all and our language and all these type of things when we had everything that was established. But some kind of way we think that their education is better, but we got to come to a place where we start rebuilding who we are, because we are the foundation of all the things that we have now, all the technology, all the creations that we have came from Black people, so-called African American, so-called Black people. It came from us. Because we are the light of the world. We are the gift. But we have been pushed down and we have forgotten who we are. But we got to start remembering who we are and coming back to our true nature. But part of coming back to our true nature is separating ourselves. Because we are not supposed to be with a group of people who has indoctrinated us to hate ourselves and have totally made us not even accept who we really are. It's amazing how when I talk to certain elderly people, certain older people, and I just flat out, some Black people, I'll elderly, I'll go up to them and say, do you know what tribe you're from? Do you know who you are? Do you know what tribe you're from? And a lot of them tell me, oh, I'm Blackfoot, or, they'll tell you what tribe they come from. But when you really get into a lot of deep conversation with them, they'll tell you, well, where I'm from, we really couldn't talk about being Indian. And it just makes me think, wow, it took a lot of years. It took hundreds of years, over 100 years to break that spirit that was in us, that was embedded in us from our ancestors. Because once our chiefs and, our strong leaders, once they were killed off or they died off, us, the children who were left, a lot of us, it was embedded in us, but it took a long time to indoctrinate us to where we were lulled to sleep and we over here, being indoctrinated by our enemies. and doing what they do. But when I talk to some of our people, they tell me that we weren't allowed to talk about being Indian. We could not even talk about it. We couldn't be Indian. We had to be black. We had to be Negro. We had to be these type of things. We couldn't be who we really were and who we really are. We had to be indoctrinated. And that's amazing to me. That is amazing to me. Through time, how they were able to make us who we are now. Now we are African American. A lot of us call ourselves African American people now. Our children, the children. We are, some of us are still calling ourselves black. And now our children over here calling themselves African American and saying that they are associated with being African. When no African person will tell you that you connected with them in any kind of way, because we're not connected with African people like that. Now, there are a lot of tribes and a lot of, that we, in certain parts of Africa that I do believe that, are our family and we are connected with. But we have been in what we call America forever. We've been in America forever. So to separate ourselves from who we actually are, I just can't do it. I can't do it. So when I get people who are upset with me because of the video that I made yesterday, about these migrants and how they are terrorizing, us, and how they're just coming here at alarming rates rapidly, and how they're terrorizing American people. They're over here going to, retail stores and stealing, taking clothes, taking, different products and different things. And, they're not being prosecuted, because you would think that once they get caught, that they send them home. Because these people, are foreigners. So they're not giving you the correct name, because a lot of them don't have ID. They're not going to give you their correct name. They can just make up any kind of name. They can tell you their name is whatever, and that's just what it is. So you don't really know who they are. But America, our government is not sending them back to where the hell they came from. America's over here just basically just letting them stay. Now, if you or me, we went into a store and started stealing and breaking into the store and doing all these type of things, we will be arrested immediately and prosecuted immediately. We will be prosecuted immediately. But these migrants are coming over here at alarming rates, taking our resources. They fighting amongst each other, stealing. And a lot of these are criminals, y'all. A lot of them are criminals. They were criminals in their own countries. Now they're over here in America, over here, and they're continuing on with that criminal activity that they were doing in their own countries. That's why their countries was willing to get rid of them so fast and saying, nah, y'all can go. Because these were criminals in their own countries. But now they're here stealing and getting away with shit that us real Americans could never get away with. We will be up under the prison. if we went into a store and stole and did all this type of shit. It's amazing how we got a lot of homeless people who, by the way, are a lot of so-called black people, in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. You got a lot of so-called black people who are homeless, that a lot of that money could be going to get them help, get them off the street, get our people off the street, help, services, for drugs and alcoholism and all that type of stuff, but instead they're allowing black people to just still be on the streets, and they're giving all our resources to these migrants. And although they're committing crimes, instead of sending them home, they're over here making room for them. I just want y'all to understand what your government is doing. I just want you to pay attention to what your government is doing right now. Our government, and I don't even want to say my government, because I don't even feel like it's a part of this shit. But what American government is doing right now is something that they have always done. Because the people that are in power right now are a bunch of foreigners. So it's easy. It's nothing for them to just allow all these other groups of people to come at alarming rates, because white people know that they're dying at alarming rates. They know that their population is going down. They know it. And this is happening all over the world. They know it. We all can see it. The last big population is the baby boomer population. But these younger children today are not having children at all. These younger white kids are not having babies at all. So their population is done. So what did Biden say? He says, you black people are going to have to get used to these Latinos. And this is the reason why he opened up the gate. But just think about it for a minute. If the Latino people that are already here in this country were having babies at alarming rates, wouldn't they have overpowered us by now? They're not overpowering us. That's because black people are not 12% like they keep lying to us and saying that we are. We are much, much bigger than that, y'all. And we need to understand that. We are much, much bigger than what the government is saying we are. We're much, much bigger. We have more babies and we have more young people. See, white people have more old people that are dying off. But black people have more young people the way it's supposed to be. That's the natural order. You have more younger people to keep the race going. That's what you're supposed to do. That's natural. That's the natural order. But because they're dying off at alarming rates, they have to bring in replacements because they just can't allow black people to dominate the way we've always dominated. They just have to just stand in the way. Like, oh no, we just can't, Jesus. We just can't allow black people to be in power ever again. So they're bringing all these other groups over here, these Latino people, at alarming rates, because the Latino people that are already over here, they're not having babies at alarming rates like that. They're not. So they opening up the gates to allow all these other groups of Latino people, Venezuelans and all these other groups to just come over at alarming rates to flood us. This is what they're doing. And they act like we're not supposed to be upset or agitated about that. It's just funny because when I'm out and about, I can feel the hostility. And I can feel how a lot of, these Latino people, they feel some kind of way, and they can feel the anger that a lot of us black people are having towards them. I can just feel it. A lot of them know that how we really feel, but a lot of them come over here with that cocky ass attitude and just that way about them, which is just unsettling to me. How you can just have so little respect for the Aborigines, and just walk all over us and just step all over us and start building taco stands it's just amazing to me. Every time I walk down the damn street, I'm seeing a damn taco truck or not even a taco truck, a taco stand on the damn sidewalk. It's just like, yo, can y'all move that shit? But I'm seeing them all up and down the damn street. A bunch of damn taco stands and shit. It's like, damn. I want to be able to walk on the sidewalk regular. Can I walk on the sidewalk without having to walk around the damn taco stand and y'all getting upset because I'm walking up under y'all little tent that y'all got stand up right there? It's amazing to me. And here's the thing. Black people, we are okay with helping other groups of people, helping others, but it's high time that we start thinking about ourselves. We see how the government is helping all these other group of people, helping them, never paying attention to us, never regarding us, just taking our resources and taking our money, and just giving it to other people. So now that we're saying, no, enough is enough, and we want what we want now. We want our reparations. We want to be able to just do what we need to do for ourselves. You have all these other groups not even want to give us reparations, even though they taking our damn resources happily and freely. Even the so-called American, Latinos and all that are cool with the fact that these other Latinos are just coming over here and taking our resources. And then they come on a lot of my pages, and my videos telling me that I'm wrong for feeling the way that I feel. That's amazing to me. But I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you guys to like and share and check out my other videos too, you guys. I want you guys to go on and check out my other videos and press the thumbs up on those videos and leave comments and all that good stuff. Check those videos out as well. But it's just amazing to me how, you have all these other groups sitting up here upset because Black people are agitated and upset that they over here just, trying to just step all over us. That's amazing to me. But this should be a wake-up call to us that you have no allies. You have no friends. Hell, a lot of us don't even have friends within our own community because a lot of us are just fucking sellouts. A lot of Black people are just sellouts. So with that being said, those of us who can come on one accord, this should be a wake-up call to us. That we have to start building for ourselves. We have to start making shit happen like our ancestors have always done. When you look at the Black Wall Street, 1900s, and you look at how we rebuilt, and then you had all these group of angry ass white people who came in and even the government actually even came in and just destroyed everything. Well, we can't allow that to happen again. But we have to do that again, y'all. We have to build like that again. Our ancestors who had that type of mentality are in us. They're in us. And we have to find that strength within us. And we got to build again, y'all. We got to build again. But we know this time, no, y'all ain't going to just come over just destroying and bombing and doing all that y'all did and infiltrating and coming in. And, we're not having all that again. But a lot of us are waking up. And that is so important. That is the beautiful thing, that a lot of us are waking up. And now that we are waking up, we need to start getting our minds right. And part of getting our minds right is knowing who we are. Knowing who we are, knowing who our ancestors are, knowing the greatness that we have always had and who we've always been. And that is what's important. That is what is important. And once we start knowing who we are and knowing the greatness that our ancestors have done and what we can do, we can start building a legacy for our children and, for our families, our loved ones. We can leave land for them and we can do those type of things, because there's no reason why we don't have land to leave our children. There's no reason why we don't have any type of legacy or anything that we should leave our children. As a matter of fact, we should be able to do enough in our lifetime where we're able to leave not only for our children, but our children's children. We should be able to leave enough for them. But we have to get out of this destroyed mentality, because we've been around our enemies so long. They've just been really just destroying us, and they've been really playing on our minds and our mental. And it's just high time that we just awaken from our sleep and get the hell out of that type of mentality and move forward. That's what we have to start doing. We have to start moving forward and saying, listen, we are powerful. We are sovereign beings, and we have to act as such. Because you see what your government is doing. You see what your government is doing right now. Your government don't give a fuck about you. Your government don't give a damn about you. Your government is over here just flooding you. All these different groups of people coming over, these Venezuelans, these Latinos, these Mexicans, all these people they just flooding you. Just to push your ass out the way, flooding you. This is what your government is doing right now. In your land, they've been lying to you, telling you, oh, your history just comes from slavery. We got the color purple constantly popping out. We are sick of the color purple. We are sick of movies that are always portraying black men in a horrible light. We're sick of it. Black men are not going to put up with it anymore. We are sick of movies that are always portraying us as being slaves, always down and out. Black men are always just a villain. We are tired of these type of movies. We're tired of them. And we can't portray these type of movies anymore. We can't do it. We got to start telling the truth. We got to stop allowing other groups of people portraying us and who we really are and whitewashing who we really are. We are the real cowboys. We are. We're the real ones. I mean, they just been lying in history just of who we really are. It's just crazy, yo, when you start finding out who we really are and just the beauty of who we really are and the power of who we really are. When you start finding out who we really are, you start gaining a different perspective. And you stop with the separation. Now a lot of us are just not going to connect, and that's okay. That's cool. But for those of us who want to build, want to come back to who we really are, to our strength, our dominance. Once we start doing that, we will be empowered to start making things happen the way that we are supposed to be making things happen, y'all. So for those of you who are upset about the video that I made, because I'm over here informing my people about what our government is doing and allowing all these people to flood us and take over us in our own land, if you're upset about that, I don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a damn about you being upset about me talking to my people about what our government is doing to us and flooding us with a bunch of foreigners who come over here, and instead of being respectful to Black people, being horrible to Black people, having nasty attitudes towards Black people, over here talking in Spanish and not even trying to even learn how to communicate with Black people. I can't tell you how many times I dealt with, Latino people or Mexican people, Venezuelan people, and they speak in Spanish. Like, well, then I don't even want to talk to you. This is how they come off at you. If you don't conform to them, they don't want to deal with you at all. And it's like, well, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I think Spanish is a beautiful language. If I want to learn Spanish, I'll learn Spanish. But it's not going to be so that I can learn how to communicate with you in my own damn country. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But you have a lot of these Latino people and these Mexicans and Venezuelan people come over and they separate themselves from you. And when they do deal with you, they expect for you to be able to communicate with them in Spanish. And I have to tell you don't speak English, like you raised a whole family over here and you mean to tell me you still don't speak English? That's amazing to me. How you done been over here in this country for years and you still don't speak English. And ain't nobody check your ass. You know what I'm saying? You should be speaking English. You should be able to communicate with the people of this country, but you continue to be able to be hostile, separate yourself from English speaking people. You're in your own little community, because your little community over there, they speak Spanish and they got Spanish stores and they got Spanish this and Spanish that they're able to, accommodate you, where you don't have to deal with Black people at all, that don't speak Spanish, or people that don't speak Spanish. You ain't got to deal with them at all. You can't go to their country doing shit like that, but they can come over here in America and do Black people like that. American people like that, separate themselves and treat Black people like outsiders in their own country. But Filipino people do that. Asian people do that. You know what I'm saying? Latino people do that. They speak their languages and separate themselves from you in America, in your country. This is what they do. Only in America, they are allowed to do shit like that. They'll just start speaking in Spanish and they'll be talking right about you. I remember years ago, we had an emergency, a patient, was having an emergency. So we all, ran into the room to do what we had to do. And once we got the patient together, all the other nurses and orderlies that were up in the room were all talking in a different language. They were talking in Tagalog and in Spanish. You had some people that were talking Spanish, and you had others that were talking in Tagalog. Filipino people. And this white man grabbed my hand, and he just held my hand and was just looking at me like, "Oh my God, like, where am I? Like, are we in America?" And I'm looking at him like, "I understand exactly how you feel. I know exactly how you feel." But he grabbed my hand. Like, what the fuck is going on here? They're talking about me in a different language. I don't understand. They're talking about me, but I don't understand what they're saying right now. Fucking rude. Just rude. But this is what a lot of them do. I had one Filipino dude one time. He was a real tall ass Filipino guy, but he talked like a wuss. And he goes, the Mexicans are always talking in Spanish. And I looked at him like he was out of his motherfucking mind. I looked at him like he was crazy as fuck. Because he actually had the nerve to say, the Mexicans are always talking in Spanish. And I said, well, Eduardo, I said, yes, they are always talking in Spanish. I said, we over here in America, and the Mexicans and the Latino, yes, they are always talking in Spanish. I said, but you Filipinos are always talking in Tagalog. I said, so as an American English speaker, I said, you can imagine how the fuck I feel. I got the Mexicans over here talking in Spanish all the damn time, and I got your asses over here talking in Tagalog all the time. And he looked at me and he was offended. Because I guess I was just supposed to just agree with him about the Mexicans talking in Spanish all the time. Never mind that he's talking in Tagalog all the time. So when I brought him back to reality, like, you are just as annoying too. So I don't understand where you get off being annoyed by Mexican people talking in Spanish when you talk in Tagalog all the time, isolating American speakers, American people, isolating us. That's what you do. And that's okay. But just understand that's what you're doing. You come to our country isolating us and acting like you better than black people in our damn country. But some kind of way we've been bamboozled to think that America is not even our country in the first place. Because they want to always tell you, no, you're from Africa. But African people know goddamn well you ain't from Africa. They know black people from America are not from Africa. And ain't no African person gonna ever tell you about no slave trade because they don't know nothing about it. They know absolutely nothing about it. That's only in America that they always pushing this slave trade bullshit, this slave type shit. Only in America. They're always pushing this slave, y'all came from Africa and we came and picked y'all from Africa. Only in America. African people don't know nothing about this history. Nothing at all. Nothing. Please understand that. So we got to get out of this narrative that so-called black people, African American people are from Africa. No, our homeland is right here in America. Period and point blank. This is our homeland. And the sooner we realize that, the better. And stop allowing other groups of people to paint this narrative for us and tell us, oh, no, you're from Africa, when they don't know themselves. They've been told a lie themselves. A lot of those maps and a lot of the original maps have been changed and have been twisted and rearranged. We have been lied to. History has been told to us in reverse. We have been lied to, and it's just high time that the truth come out. That's all. It's just high time that the truth starts coming out. And 2024 which is a beautiful thing. It's just a new year, and it's just a new awakening where the truth is going to be revealed. Where we're coming into the new year with just truth being revealed, period and point blank, which I think is a beautiful thing because we need the truth. You know, a lot of the churches are being exposed because we got to understand that our enemies use religion to control us, to lie to us, manipulate us. Christianity has been used to lie to us, manipulate us, to subdue us, subject us, use the same way. All these different religions have been used to subdue us. And it's high time that we start finding out the truth and realizing that the spell that they have cast over us is done and it's over with, and we have awakened. And see, this is what the powers that be are upset about, and they're afraid of, and they're frightened of, because a lot of us are awakened and not being lulled to sleep by Christianity and falling for that crap anymore. We're not falling for that white Jesus anymore. We're not falling for it anymore. We're done with it. We're over it. And this is what a lot of our enemies are afraid of. But that's okay. That's okay. So they feel like they got to replace us and, wipe us out. And part of wiping us out is, mixing, breeding us out, because best and believe a lot of our women are getting impregnated by these foreign men that are coming over right now. A lot of black women are getting impregnated by foreign men, but these children are, believe me, are going to be black children. The government is going to claim them as black, and that's just real talk. But a lot of our women are getting pregnant right now as we speak by a lot of these foreign men. But please understand that. And a lot of, and vice versa. A lot of these women are going to be getting pregnant by a lot of our men in our community. This is going to happen, and we need to understand that that's going to happen, because of this flooding. But I just want to just talk about this real quick. In the Bible, when it talks about the Pharaoh and how the Israelites were multiplying, they were multiplying at alarming rates, and you had the king who had risen up and said, "Oh no, we got to do something about this. These people are growing so rapidly that we have to stop them." So the king that had risen up instructed, some of the women in our group to kill the boys. Nothing's new under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. But you had the Pharaoh over here instructing some of our women to kill the boys and keep the girls, because we're just growing so much. But they were enslaving us and having us working, and we were just under a lot of stress. But even under that stress, we were having a lot of babies. And this is what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing right now. We're having a lot of children. So even though this government is lying to us and telling us that we're still only at 12% of the population, we're at 13% of the population, please understand that we have risen. We're at 32% of the population. We have grown 32%, y'all. We've grown. This is what they are admitting to us. And personally, I think it's more than that. But this is what they're admitting, that we've grown 32%. That's a lot. That is a lot. And with that being said, a lot of these other groups are coming in to water us down and, to mix us, but they have never been able to do it because the Most High ain't going to allow that to happen. He ain't going to allow it to happen. And all this time, they've never been able to do it. And we got a whole lot of half-breeded children today. There's a whole lot of half-breeds running around right now. But they're never going to be able to get rid of all of us and who we actually are and who we really are. It's high time that we wake up, family, of who we really are and come back to who we really are and start building. And stop trying to rely. And although I'm all for reparations, I think we should get reparations. I think this government owes us. They owe us. But we still need to understand that we have to do for ourselves. We cannot rely on a group of people to do anything for us. We have to do it for ourselves. But we have to come together. That's the important thing. And what our enemies are afraid of is our unity. They are afraid of our unity. They don't want us to come together because they are afraid that if we come together, the power that we will have. And that's what we need. That's what we need to do. And so that we can become the sovereign beings that we are supposed to be. We are supposed to be sovereign as beings, period and point blank. Not being under the submission of another group while they come into our land telling us what we need to do and killing us at alarming rates, and sending slave catchers and police officers to kill us and shit like that. That's crazy. We have to stop allowing that. We gotta stop that. But how we can stop that is by coming together and getting our own land and creating our own laws and all that type of good stuff. But planting the seed is the beginning. Planting the seed. We have to come to a place where we are one. And this is, again, what our enemy is afraid of. But that's okay. Because I want you to pay attention to what they're doing to us right now. They're just flooding us and flooding us and flooding us and flooding us. Trying to take our land right up from up under us. Not being able to get rid of us because there's so many of us. All over the place. We're all over. We're indigenous to every place imaginable. We're indigenous to. Everywhere. We are indigenous. I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers that have subscribed to my channel. I got a lot of new subscribers. I want to say thank you to my subscribers and to all the people that have been rocking with me, all my people that have been following me for years. Thank you very much for following me. I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. But we have to come to a place where we start not only waking up, but start putting into action. A lot of us are becoming millionaires and, becoming rich. And what are we doing with that money? We should be buying land, acres and acres of land. That's what we should be doing. That's what we need to do. I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Press that thumbs up, and I'm going to see you all on the next video. Shalom.